What's going on here, Tib? How's all the beautiful people? Well, this is the 21 horse Briggs Intake Platinum, I believe. Yes, Platinum. I don't know what that means, but I suspect this has camshaft or compression release issues. It's not. It turns over fine, but there is a rattle. I wouldn't call it a knock. I believe it's a rattle. So I went ahead and ordered a camshaft for it. It was cheap enough, just an aftermarket one. So what we are going to do is, I've already sucked the oil out of it. We're going to open this thing up, and hopefully it's just a compression release issue, and replacing it with the parts I already have will fix the issue. If not, we will see what it needs and possibly get the rest of the parts, or whatever we find. So let me gather some tools and we will open this dude up. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is pull this valve cover so that I can pull the rockers from the valve. That way we can pull it apart without fighting anything. The gasket's in good shape and has not been leaking. And I've had this off prior to do valve lash. Well, I hope everybody's had a great turkey day. Ours was pretty good. I'm full and I don't feel like doing anything, but here we are. Where's that? Some set screws. Maybe what we'll do real quick, I'll bring this around, make sure we're snug there. I'm not ready. Alright, right there we ought to be top dead center. So, come on, yeah. I'm not trying to necessarily take this, yeah, get them out of the way. Intake. And I believe this engine's got quite a few hours on it. Runs great. But you can see the wear on that push rod, namely this one. Look at that. That thing ain't been beating around in there for a while. But she still runs good. I don't know. And this rattle could be, a sign of the death of this machine, but I'm not convinced yet. There we go. Well, I'll tell you what, let me get those out of the way. I'll go ahead and put this thing on its lid. That way any residual oil that may still be there, and it ain't going to be very neat for you guys just because of the way the engine wants to hang out, but I'll bring you in closer for anything important. You want to be careful with these. They do have Loctite on them. Sometimes these will go into shithead mode. You don't want to use a big impact because it is possible to break them. So before I do any damage to that, let me grab a ratchet and we'll break it. Maybe. One thing's for sure, if you break one of these off, you're pretty well screwed. It's still pretty good there. So. We're not trying to make our problems worse. Ideally, I would have been able to pressure wash this. I hate opening the engine up with this much bull crap, but it is what it is. So far they're all the same length. Okay. Wasn't nothing hard about that. What I'm going to do first here, I'm going to take a second and I'm going to go around it here. Right here at this seam. I'm going to wipe off anything that could potentially fall inside when I crack this open. Last thing I want to do is have to fish crap out of the engine. It's just part of the old gasket there. Alright, let me grab a mallet and maybe because you guys don't get what I need to split this case, I'll bring you back. Alrighty, people. Well, I've got a couple of pry bars here. Well, a tire spoon, a pry bar, and a mallet. So, should you choose to use a mallet, just be gentle with it, or pry bar, any of it. No matter what method you use to get it apart, just be careful and note that some of the components to that oil pump are going to fall down when I open this up, but that's no big deal. We'll get them out. Now I've got it coming my way. I'm just going to be gentle with it here. Make sure I don't have a bunch of schmoo hanging out around this seal that's going to fall in. Okay, coming up nice and easy. Just like that. There's some grit and grind down there, but it isn't terrible. Alright, here's that little piece I was talking about for the oil pump. So we'll take that cover off before we put it back together. And get all that lined out. Set that down out of the way. We gotta get, here's the governor. We'll set that down just like it come out. And here's I'm not super convinced that this is the issue, but it does have a fair bit of play. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. It's 579. Let me grab the new one. What I need to do here is, I have seen a few videos on people having problems with this counterweight arms breaking. I'm not seeing that that's an issue. Alright, let me grab this new one. This one also says 579. I think this one's got the same play going on. I don't know. I've already spent the money on it, and I have it here, and by golly, we're going to put it in. So, what I'm going to do first, and there's a timing mark here on this crank. Right there. Tell you what though, let me grab a flashlight. I'll tell you what, let me pause you guys. I'm going to look this thing over real good and make sure we're at square one before I start trying to slap it together. I'll be back. Alrighty, well, I tell you what, I've looked and I can't find anything concerning. So, what the next step is going to be for me is to get all this gasket material, and somebody's been in here simply because there's a bunch of RTV and a gasket, so somebody has come and gone, and there's no story to tell because we don't know it. But anyways, I'll put you guys in time lapse. We'll get this thing cleaned up. There's no evidence of, I mean, there was some gasket material, that RTV laying in there, but there's no evidence of anything being out of whack or hitting where it shouldn't be or loose, or, I mean, the counterweight moves around, but the retainer was almost sunk and it is currently not installed. So even though it had a bit of a rattle, I did see a piece on the exhaust that looked to me like it had been rattling quite a bit. You know, it just slipped down in there. Or it's pretty beat up, like it had, you know, potentially that was the source. What I may do is just try putting a tack on it once I get this back together to remedy that. But okay, time lapse it is. We'll get this thing cleaned up. Here, I'll tell you what, before you go, I'm sure you guys have seen you're watching this video. This ain't the first one you've watched, but tighten it down a little bit. There we go. And I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it or not, but you can still see the cross hatching down there on the cylinder. You can see that down there in that corner. You can see some of that RTV I'm talking about. A little speck, not the bigger speck, but the little speck to the right of it. But anyway, I believe there's some sludge in there. I'll throw this bottom half in the parts washer and we'll get all that cleaned out and go from there. But I'll time lapse you guys. We'll get this cleaned up and yeah, we'll put it back together. Alrighty, boys and girls. I'm going to use some motor assembly lubricant. Smear some of this on these new tappets. Pardon the dog barking. So I got the gasket material, well, about 95% of it, and the rest of it. You can't fail it, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to end up using RTV on both surfaces with the gasket in the middle. Well, son of a... I guess it helps if you get it in the right hole, huh? Anyways, what I was saying is I cleaned the sump up in the parts washer and got it shining like a diamond in a goat's ass. I tilted this thing up and sprayed it out real good with brake parts cleaner. Here we have the new cam. I think somebody has been in here and replaced this cam or something. They came in here for something. I don't know what it was, but it's neither here nor there, I guess. A little over here, a little over there. Like I said, pardon the noise. Okay, there's a decent chance I'm gonna have to rotate this some more. Yeah, I gotta go. There. What's the chances of me getting that right? Rotating that crankshaft around there and stopping right where I needed to stop. Doesn't seem very likely, but it happened, believe it or not. Okay. Yeah. Let's see, those swing out. Get it in there. Okay, I'm not going to bore you guys with me going around this thing with RTV. And look how the gasket showed up. Hmm? Yeah, that's fun. But I get one layer of RTV down here, a thin layer. I can stick my gasket to it and hold it in place while I put the rest on. So I put a little of this assembly lube in here because little counterweight runs back and forth on that. I'm not going to change that crank seal on the bottom because that son of a gun still looks brand new. And this is easy enough. I mean, if this fixes it, and it starts leaking, it's easy enough to come back in here and do something to it if I need to, but I'm not terribly concerned. So, it wasn't leaking before, and it hadn't sustained any damage. So, what I'll do, I'll pause you guys. I'm gonna put my RTV down, put my gasket on there, and when I get ready to set the sump back on, I will bring you back. Alrighty, I decided against putting RTV on that other half. What I'm gonna do, go ahead and set this cover on here. I'm gonna run my bolts down just handy, and then I'm gonna let it sit for an hour or so, and let that RTV tack up just a little bit. Make me all warm and cozy on the inside. It'll make sure that these holes are lined up on that wrinkled ass gasket. Oh, that's frustrating. Just want to be easy with it. You gotta watch this seal. This one may not be much of an issue because it's already been down there, but it is possible for that lip to kind of turn inside out on you, and that makes for a terrible day. You know what, just for the last second shits and giggles, I'll look in there on that governor, make sure she's still lined up, and it is. And then now's where we gotta watch that seal. We're not yet down to our alignment dials. Let me grab the pick. This part kind of sucks. You just hope and pray that that gasket stayed where it's supposed to be. And I just want to be careful with this seal. Now I'm getting down to the alignment dials, and at this point in time I believe my seal is where I need it to be. So what I'm going to do, while it's still in a position for me to be able to stick something in there and move that gasket around a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and run these things in, get them started so I know that gasket's not going to move on me. see. Okay, that one's not going down. Pretty. Yeah, they're all the same length. And how in the hell, or why, rather. That one went, got one left. Alright, let me, real quick, me buzz this fuel pump cover off. That look like for you guys, 5/16. Now there's an O-ring in here, hopefully. Hopefully it's still in good shape. Looks good to me. Wipe that down a little bit. Now all I got to do here is pull this little gear out, drop in my, where did you go? Right here. Drop in my little pump shaft. There's no right or wrong to it. This thing can be kind of slippery getting out. Oh man. Everything in here looks grand. Let me smear a little bit of that lubricator plate on here. Actually, there's plenty of oil. Let me just coat it with oil. It'll be fine. You know what? I need to wait because it's not down all the way. So. Yeah, my cover's not down all the way just yet, so let me get, oh, come on. There we go. What I'm going to do is try to hold this steel and just rock this a little bit. There we go. Alright. And that piece home. And that piece home. Clean this surface off. like that. O-ring still in place. And apparently, there we go. Cool. Now what I'll do is once I get these in, actually just in case we gotta take it back off, I'm just gonna use my ratchet to run this down. And like I said, I'm just gonna run them in till they start smushing that gasket, and then I'm gonna stop. And I'm gonna wait about an hour, maybe longer. I want that material to tack up. This one here is the one that didn't start over, but it is now. Right there. And I'm gonna let it sit. I'm not gonna tighten it down anymore. I'll wait a couple hours, but I'll bring you guys back at that point. We'll torque it, and then we will wait till tomorrow to put it back on and try it out. Alrighty, Peppa. Well, it's been an hour. Let's see. Yep. We're kind of tacky here. Got a good base to it. Best I could tell, I printed out some literature. These call for 180 inch-pounds, so I'm going to go around first at 140 inch-pounds, and we'll just see how that feels. Well, it ain't very much. And there is a torque, a specified torque sequence from Briggs on this deal, but I'm just going to go around it here and crisscross it. Already got that one. I already got this one too, yep. Pretty sure, there we go. While I was waiting on the hour to pass, I tightened down the oil pump cover and I installed push rods. Alright, that's got them all at 140. Let's come on up to 180. Right there. about it. Okay, well, that's going to get us today. No, I tell you what, we'll go ahead and, I don't think I got to worry about that sticking to anything. And there is some end play on here, but it's supposed to have some. I'm not going to get all technical with it. This is not a high-end. As old Tara would say, it's a lawnmower, not a spaceship. Right? Okay, I've still got my, oh yeah. We'll go ahead and we'll set these valves real quick. Get that out of the way. I'm gonna do 5,000 both. Come on, man, where you at? There's 4. Actually, we'll do 6 on exhaust and 4 on the 5 on intake. Alright. What I'm gonna do, foolproof method, I'll take this around and let's go the right way. How about that? Alright, exhaust is open. Goes 5. A little bit snug there, a little drag, I like it. I'm gonna go ahead and run my locking screw down. Make sure we're still where we want to be. Oh yeah. Love it. I'm not 100% certain that this is right. Yeah, she's a little wonky. Let's fix that. There we go. Just gonna hold that. Beautiful. Rotate it around till the intake's open, just like so. Pull the 6 and tight. Feels pretty good. Let me get that down there pretty snug and make sure like that's gonna have it. Oh yeah. Snug that up. Wipe any schmear off the gasket surface. And this gasket's still in great shape. That's kind of another thing that makes me think somebody's been here. I know I was in here before when I set the valves originally, but certain. Somebody was here before that. Get this thing on, and then tomorrow install it. Well, yeah, install it, fill her up with oil, and let her eat. It's got a new carburetor on it. What else? Where in the Sam hell my socket go? 3/8. I do not know. Anyways, y'all get the picture. I'll get this thing tightened up, and I'll set this thing down, and I'll bring you guys back tomorrow, and we will see we'll see what happens with it. All right, you beautiful people. Well, it's a new day. I got it on. Got everything hooked up. I did start it a while ago without getting the camera going. I forgot all about it. Got busy, but here we go. It still has the rattle, but like I said, I do believe it's the exhaust down there. You can see it's got a crack in it. So come on. Give her a little choke. Guys could tell or not, but I think you could, because I could. But when it was running, the camera, you can't see it with the naked eye, but the camera was picking it up, that exhaust rattling back and forth. So okay, well, nothing left to do on this guy, but it's got fresh oil in it. I will tack that exhaust up, but other than that, the deck is in good shape, as you can see. It's sitting there. It's got good blades on it, and all the bearings are in good shape. It does need a wash, but you know, and a buff job. All the paint needs to be buffed up on it. I've got a seat cover coming. So there you go. Anyways, that's another aftermarket camshaft that is working for now, so can't be any worse than OEM. I've heard of some of those lasting as little as 80 hours. I think some of them less than that. So anyways, you beautiful people, like and sub, and we will catch you on the next one. Later.